Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Alicia Dove Jones here from the DMV area, and I am just excited that you all were able to chime in with us tonight. Just give me one moment. I am new to this new system. You know how technology goes. So I'm going to give everyone maybe about 30 seconds to get on, and then we're going to get started, because the good thing about these lives is that you can come back and view them at any time. So I'm just going to give it maybe 20 or 30 seconds so we can go ahead and keep it going, because we do not want to take up too much of your time tonight. Okay, so let me see. All right, it looks like we're in pretty good shape here. Good evening, Keisha King. How you doing? Look, like I said, this is my first time using this Be Live. My husband is the techie. I'm just here on the side, just trying to figure it out with him. So far, so good. So we're excited. Thank you so much for joining, Keisha. So just bear with us. Okay, so actually, we're going to go ahead and get started because we're just excited. We're fired up. We're not going to take up too much of your time. Hey, Taisha, how are you doing? Again, my name is Alicia Dove Jones, and I am here with my amazing husband, Derrick Jones, and we live in Maryland in the DMV area, and we decided to do something different. We decided to do our first virtual focus group and live demonstration. So please bear with us, as this is our first time. My husband is actually in another room of the house where he's actually going to conduct the live demonstration here for you tonight. We first and foremost want to give a shout out to our fearless leaders. Again, my name is Alicia Dove Jones. My husband's name is Derrick Jones, and we're representatives of a company called Inspire Network, which has not even launched yet. It's actually scheduled to launch on April 15th. So we're just excited. You know, we have been actually working this business for the past couple of months, you know, attending different focus groups. You know, as soon as we heard about the opportunity from our amazing global director of sales, Mr. Damon Coleman, once he kind of showed me this little demonstration, I was just like, oh my God, it's a no-brainer. I don't care if I don't get paid off of it or not. We didn't know anything about the commission. We didn't know anything about any type of comp plan or what the pads or, you know, what it costs. But we decided that we wanted to jump right into this opportunity. And so I definitely want to take this moment to thank our fearless leaders, Mr. Spencer Iverson. He is phenomenal. He really has just set the tone for the company. He is very, very big on making sure that he operates in the spirit of excellence. And so we love that about him. We actually have our fearless leaders on the road, Mr. Damon Coleman and Mr. Damon Crump. They are traveling across the East Coast right now. They'll be traveling across the West Coast right now. This thing is huge. We're talking over 65,000 people, probably close to 70,000 by now, people who have joined this movement within 90 days. Okay, it is not a game. We're not in this to be playing around with this thing. So without further ado, again, I just wanted to mention to you guys, we're not going to take up too much of your time tonight, maybe 15 to 20 minutes or so. We believe in respecting your time. We're just thankful that you took the time out to chime in to watch this particular presentation. So I'm going to get ready to transfer this live over to my husband in a moment, but you know, one of the things that I just wanted to say before I transition this over to my husband is that we're just really, really excited. And this movement is what moved us, okay? We actually heard of this Now We Know, Now We Know. What is Now We Know? What's this hashtag Now We Know? You know, and once we heard about this campaign and once we linked it to what they were selling, it was an absolute no-brainer. Me being a woman who has had her feminine flow since she was 9 years old, it's been challenging. And guys, I wasn't with my mom at the time when I started my feminine flow. I was on a school trip 4 hours away. And so I've had issues over the years, and it's just been crazy. And after my husband does a demonstration, I'm going to give a short testimony. So without further ado, I'm going to actually get my husband on to you guys so he can actually give you some information about the Now We Know campaign, as well as show the live demonstration of the cherished sanitary napkins. All right, so let me see if I can get this technology straight, y'all. Let me see if I can get it straight. I'm sending everybody over to you, babe.
All right. I hope everybody can see and hear me. Like Alicia said, we are excited to be a part of Inspire Network. And like she said, along with the company, launching on April 15th, we actually have an awareness campaign for women called Now We Know. Alicia just mentioned that. And the reason why it's called Now We Know is because a lot of the information that I'm about to share with you, a lot of women haven't heard of it before, weren't aware of some of the chemicals and toxins that are in the sanitary napkins that you currently use. And once you find out this information, as a group, as a gender, you at the end, you're going to have to say, now we know, now I know, now I don't have to choose what I've been choosing because I'm more informed now. And, the old saying is, once you know better, you do better. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that you know exactly what you're dealing with when you're dealing with your sanitary napkins. And I know a lot of women, some of you may say, well, I'm past that phase of my life, but I guarantee you that you know someone that's of age that is dealing with complications. A lot of times these chemicals will possibly attribute to things like fibroids. We can't make any medical claims, but anything toxic that goes in your body, no matter what it is, can't be helpful to it. So we want to eliminate everything that we possibly can. So the other point I wanted to make too, and it's kind of ha-ha funny, but not really. A lot of women, like Alicia said, we've been doing this for a couple months. We've done like vending events, and we've talked to a lot of women, and some of them laugh, some guys laugh, and they see me, and they're like, why? Like, even tonight, this is probably what's going through your head. Why does the woman do the intro, and why is the guy doing the demo? What does he know about this stuff? And the answer is simply this. If I'm able to give you information that's going to help you or someone you love, possibly not have to deal with a lot of the problems that women had to deal with, do you care who the messenger is? The information is more powerful than the actual messenger. Number two, as a man, and a lot of you may not believe this, but we love y'all. So we want to make sure that if there's information that I have that can help you, we want to make sure that if I'm on the street and I see you, I'm not going to pass by you and say, well, I'm a guy, I can't tell her about this. I'm not, I'm a grown man. We out here to help people. And that's Alicia and I's mission, is to help as many people we can. So that's why I'm here. And I have a daughter. I have a daughter that may possibly be coming on her feminine flow in the next year or two. And I want to make sure that she's informed so she may never have to go through some of the silent suffering that a lot of women have gone through. So with that information, I'm willing to tell, anyone that I come in contact with. So that's why I'm here. And so, like I said, the message is more important than the messenger. We want to make sure we get this word out to every possible woman, organization, or anything, basically anybody within earshot. We want to make sure that you're aware of this. I'm going to get started with the demonstration. The first thing I'm going to say is, in front of me, and some of you have probably seen a demonstration before, and you're probably like, why does he have 3 different types of sanitary napkins here? We have a normal, traditional sanitary napkin that you can find on the store shelf. We also, what we did, just by virtue of us listening to different people and doing research, we have an organic pad here that doesn't have the chemicals in it, but I want to show you the differences between all 3. And then we have our Cherish sanitary napkin, which is the one that excited us when we actually saw the actual demonstration. So I'm going to show you how all 3 of them compare so that you will be more informed. And I guarantee you after the end of this demonstration, you're going to say, now we know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up each pad and I'm going to show you how these things traditionally work and what they're made of and those type of things. It's not going to take long, but I want to make sure that you're as informed as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay each one flat. And this is the thing, as a man just going through these demonstrations, and you see on here, it'll say 8-hour protection. And most of you women know that that's not really true, right? So I'm going to lay this one down here. And the other thing too, that I saw that was kind of alarming is they have this blue strip in the middle, and that's supposed to be part of your leak protection system for 8 hours. And really, ladies, all it is blue dye. And when you get that dye wet, I'm not going to say where it goes, but you know where it goes. It's not a healthy thing for you. So that's sanitary napkin number one. Sanitary napkin number two, because we run into a lot of women that say, well, I use a all cotton sanitary napkin, so I don't have to worry about any of that. So why should I choose the Cherish sanitary napkin? So this particular sanitary napkin is made of cotton on the surface. And so what you need to also realize about the reason why the first one is not safe for you is that the top layer of it is white. And white, we normally attribute to being clean. The way that they make this white, and it's made out of like old newspaper, wood fibers, wood pulp, cardboard, basically trash, they bleach it. When they bleach it, of course, it turns white. But the side effect to bleaching those materials is it releases a toxin called dioxin. And that dioxin lives right here. And guess where that goes when you put it on? So even when you think that you are protected, you're really not. This is all stuff you can Google. That dioxin comes out, in trace amounts. But think about how many times you've used pads over your lifetime and how many different things that are attributed to, different things, like I said before, possibly like fibroids. And then the doctor says, well, I don't know where it comes from. But you have all this toxic stuff going in right there. So normally what a lot of women notice is on these pads on the surface, it's kind of like a mesh. And that mesh will irritate you sometimes, right? So when you move over to something that you say, okay, I've heard about all the chemicals, I'm going to move to an organic pad that's just made out of cotton. And what you'll notice about the cotton one is that you don't worry about the chemicals, but you will have to worry about the absorbency, okay? And you're going to see that in a minute. Now what you're going to notice is, and the other thing that I forgot to mention is, and a lot of women will know this, and if you don't know this, if you have sanitary napkins that you're already using, you will actually pay attention to this. When you have your normal pad package, you'll notice that it'll have like little openings right beside the actual place where you actually open it up. You can actually stick your finger in there. They need that to breathe so that those toxins don't get, doesn't stay in there and just kind of hibernate and make it worse. With ours, it's sealed tight. There's no way that anything can get in there, so it's safe for you. So I'm going to open this one. And if you notice the size difference between the normal pad and our pad, right? And think about that and remember that when we actually do the absorbency test. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to saturate each one of these pads, and they say on average, a woman will release about between 15 to 50 milliliters of liquid in a whole day. So we're going to go high. We're going to go all the way to 50, and we're going to do that on each pad, and I'm going to show you the difference in the absorbency. So stand by. So I'm going to do 50 milliliters on each one of these pads. So this is the first one. And I'm just going to saturate the whole pad. Now remember, this is the 8-hour one here, okay? Keep that in the back of your mind. This next one is the organic pad. It's all cotton. Okay, and we're going to do the last 50 milliliters on the Cherish sanitary napkin, which is just the day pad, and we'll have several other, we'll have panty liners, the extra long and the overnight pads. Those are coming as well. And then I'm going to tell you another very important part of the cherish pad. Once I actually go through this part of the test, this actually going to, shock you. So I'm going to let that sit for like maybe 1 minute. It doesn't take long. And so while we're going to wait that minute, I'm going to say this to you. For me, as a man, we don't realize the depth. Like, I had no clue until we partnered with this company. I had no clue what you women go through, and some of it's pretty horrific. And so for us, I can't even say for me, for us, for Alicia and I, this is more than just us marketing or promoting a product. This is a mission. Like, to see the tears, to see the pain and the agony, like, you have to kind of not be a human being not to care about that. So we want to make sure that we not only show you this, but we live a life and a lifestyle that promotes us looking out for our community. And, the cornerstone of the community is our women. So what I'm going to do, that was probably maybe, a couple minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the absorbency of the 8-hour protection. So I'm going to put some pressure on this. Like, if you can see that, it's saturated. There's no protection there. Remember that blue dye leak protection system? And most women already know this to be true because you have to change your pad like 6-7 times a day because of this. Okay? And that is not, what you have to think about is, when you are this wet, there's bacteria happening there. It's all kind of things, right? Odor. And a lot of times you're dealing with cramps and it's just uncomfortable. And nobody wants to live like that. Now, we go to the organic pad. This is the one that doesn't have the chemicals in it. It's cotton. It's not made of all the newspapers and all of that, right? So you're like, okay, I have a safer bet. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. It's worse than even the other one on the absorbency because you don't really have a real leak protection system. It's just really cotton, okay? So that right there in itself, yes, you made a better choice, but you still got to change it 1,000,000 times a day because it's uncomfortable. So I'm actually going to have to wipe my hand off because it's so wet. So that I don't, I want to make sure that this last one I show you actually does what it's supposed to do. For the people who haven't seen this before, you may not believe it. A lot of women are like, okay, I'm going to still have to change 5 times a day. So I'm actually going to stand up a little bit and I'm going to press. And I'm going to lift this back up and it's bone dry. The only thing you see is the indentation of my hand being pressed on there. You don't see any water. Right? So now you have to say to yourself, wow, you got to realize that you normally change because it's wet. If it's not wet, you don't have to change as much. And I'm going to tell you some of the other features of the Cherish Pad that, like, let's back up a second. What I just showed you right now is worth the price of admission already. And I haven't even told you about some of the better parts of the sanitary napkin, right? That's enough for you to say, I need that. Because now I don't have to change as much and I feel more protected. But there's more, right? There's no tricks up my sleeve. I put on a short sleeve shirt on purpose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how these pads actually work, so that you'll have a better understanding of why this Cherish Pad is a better option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually break these apart a little bit to show you what we're dealing with here. And I had a woman tell me while we were vending, she was like, I have been wearing sanitary napkins my whole life and I've never broken a pad down like this. So, and truth be told, you have I. But this first layer is that part that irritates you. It's almost like a mesh. And that's that trash and the bleaching to try to make it white. So we're going to get rid of that because who wants that, right? The next layer you have is the infamous leak protection system. And that get this off of here. That's that blue dye I was talking about, right? And we saw all of the wetness that came even with this 8 hours of protection. So we're going to get rid of that too. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the absorbency system in here and we're going to place it. And I have 3 cups of water here. This last one has more water. And I don't know if you can see that, but this last one has more water. So we're going to put this one in one of the ones that have the least amount of water in it. And we're going to give it a few minutes to absorb that water. Now, the other key component that you want to see about this regular pad that you get off the store shelf is, and as you know, the bottom of it is made of plastic. It does not breathe. So guess what happens when there's no air circulation getting through there? It's a breeding ground for bacteria. And that bacteria causes odor. So think about it like this. What if this could breathe and the odor was eliminated? Like I said, there's more. So we're going to go to the all organic pad, all cotton. And we're going to break this one apart too. Bear with me here. I am a guy, so bear with me here. And because this is cotton, it's kind of like breaking apart here. But I want to try to get the leak protection system out of it for you guys here. So see that? That's just cotton. So we're gonna put that in the cup, another cup that has the least amount of water in it, and we're gonna let that soak. And this is still cotton, okay? So this is supposedly organic and cotton. So we're going to throw that top layer away. The bottom layer is a little better than the first. Looking at absorbency, remember it didn't actually absorb. Technically, the absorbency is worse with the organic one. Let me wipe this off here for a minute here. Okay, so now we're going to get to what excited us was the cherished sanitary napkin. It's smooth, like cashmere, Alicia always says. And this is cotton. You don't have to bleach cotton. Cotton is naturally white. So I'm going to peel this top layer off. And then I'm going to tell you about the next most exciting part of this. So that's that first layer. That's cotton. Now, this right here is a game changer. It looks like a little pink strip of paper, but it's worth its weight times a million in gold. So what this is called is a negative ion strip. And negative ions naturally occur in nature. This is what makes you feel relaxed, like right after it rains or when you're at the beach and it's real calming. They were able to harness those ions and pack this with it. And what this does is, you know, when you have things like menstrual cramps and this like contraction feeling, when your body relaxes by way of this negative ion strip, a lot of women have reported that the cramps either went away or they were severely reduced because their body is in a relaxed state because of this negative ion strip. So think about these two things already. Well, 3 things we talked about already. Number 1, it's dry. Number 2, you're relaxed and the cramps, you know, potentially go away or are very minimized. Number 3, it's breathable. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. So now the odor goes away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Cherish leak protection system, and I'm going to put it in the cup that has the most amount of water in it. And we're going to let that absorb. And what you want to notice about this is the bottom layer. If you can see, it has like stripes on the bottom of it, and that allows air to get in. If you were to put this over like a steaming cup of coffee, the steam would come right through it. So this bottom layer is not all plastic, and that's why a lot of the odor and the bacteria won't have a chance to kind of grow and fester, because it's able to breathe, okay? So we're gonna let this sit for like 1 minute, maybe less. And you can already kind of see what's happening here, right? You see this water in here, and you see this water in here, and so we're getting there. So what I need for you to understand is simply this. Inspire Network will never say to you that we are the absolute best 100% everything in the world. But what we will say is that we have a better option for you. You are now informed, and it's up to you to make better decisions for yourself and your family. And we always, and I always, because I'm a father, I think about the little girls. I think about the little girls never having to deal with this. In school and having to run out of class and change and all of that, like, it's almost kind of like doors were open. Like, these things I never really knew, and men don't really normally care about it. We just know that you're dealing with something, but we don't know the depth of it. And it's huge. Like, we were in, just for 2 seconds, we were in a focus group meeting, and there was a woman giving her testimony, and she said, how many women in the room have had complications because of their menstrual cycle? And like, the whole room was like, and I looked around and I was like, wow, who knew? So I don't even know how many minutes it was. Maybe, I don't know, 3, 2, 3, you call it. So it's your regular pad, 8-hour absorbency. This is your organic pad, day pad. And look at this. There's nothing coming out of it. So what that lets you know is, not only did it absorb the 50 milliliters in a day, just that 1 day pad, but this was 150 milliliters. So this is really like 4 days worth of liquid that it absorbed in 1 day pad. And so you literally could take this extra water and pour it in here, and it'll still absorb it if you let it sit there for another couple minutes. Now, that is the demonstration. I told you we wasn't going to leave you here that long. That's the demonstration. So now you know why the actual awareness campaign is called Now We Know. And the know is spelled N-O, because now when you are out and you're shopping for your sanitary napkins and you see these other brands that you know have those toxins and chemicals in it, you can say, no, I'm not going to choose that one. No, I don't want that one either. No, no, no. Now we know. So I'm going to leave you with that. You guys are now informed, and hopefully you can make a better decision. The Cherish sanitary napkins will be available soon, and we will let you know when that happens. But we just want to make sure that we get the information out to as many women as humanly possible. Like we said, this is a mission for us. We care about the community. We care about our women. We care about our families. And we want to make sure that this does not go unnoticed, because this is another fact that you have to know. The sanitary napkins that exist on the counter that have these toxins and the bleaching and the dioxin coming out of it, there's no regulation for them to tell you what's in it. Go figure, right? There's no regulation for sanitary napkin companies to tell you what's in it. So they literally can do what they want to do. And because it's a habit for you to buy the same type every month, you don't even think about it. So that's all I have. I'm going to let Alicia come back and we're going to close it out. Like I said, we weren't going to keep you long, but we want to keep you informed. So Alicia, back to you.
Wow, 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 wow. Mr. Jones, you did a phenomenal job. I'm so proud of you. Please give my man some hearts. He really put his heart and soul in that. You know, tonight was the first night that we actually used the organic sanitary napkin. It was his first time actually touching it. You know, we had purchased it just to try to, you know, add another type of sanitary napkin to the equation, because as you interact with more people, people start telling you, oh, I've used this type of napkin. Oh, I use that. Da, 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 da. One of the other things that we also want to mention is that we know that a lot of women use tampons, and tampons are not natural. You know, I have been one who's never felt comfortable with using them, so I never used tampons. But a lot of people may incur something called toxic shock syndrome because it's just not a natural thing. It's like a plug. So imagine you having this plug in your body, and you know, basically everything that's supposed to come out is staying there. And they even come out with different tampons that come out. I mean, they even came out with different tampons that basically help make you bleed more, so you can use more tampons, which can also lead to other infections. And so, you know, I'm going to give you the website of our Now We Know campaign, just so you can read up a little bit on that, because a lot of times people had no idea. They just use it. And especially, you know, in high school, I was a cheerleader in high school. You know, people who are athletic, or you just don't even, as a chick, I mean, just to be honest, we just didn't go to the bathroom like that, especially to do something else. We wait to go home to go to the bathroom, if you know what I mean. So, you know, on that note, you know, Derrick, you did a phenomenal job doing the demonstration of the Cherish sanitary napkins. I'm just over the moon excited about how many men are on board with this mission and with this campaign, and how passionate they are about it. And, you know, one thing that I want to say too, tonight, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do this tonight. The first 5 people, I'm doing this is really last minute, and you cannot be Inspire representative. You cannot be someone who has already had a hold of the sanitary napkins. Tonight, I am going to give away 5 samples of the sanitary napkin to the first 5 people to say in the feed, I'm inspired. Hashtag I'm inspired. So the first 5 women or men, now you have to make sure, this is the other caveat, you have to make sure that you give me back a testimony, because this is precious cargo right here. And I don't have a lot of these left, and we're going to be launching soon, but we do not have any more. We only have like maybe 10 or 20 left to use until we actually get the real deal shipped to us once we launch. So for the next 5 people that hashtag I'm inspired, it could be a man or woman. If you have kids, if you have a relative or your spouse, if someone that you know uses sanitary napkins, we want to get their testimony. We want to get their testimony. And so that's all. We're going to give away 5 of these tonight. Just inbox me and I can mail it to you tomorrow. Now, also, I wanted to mention just a small little testimony. I'm not going to give a full blown because I have several. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, I've had my feminine flow since I was 9 years old, and I was not with my mom at the time because I was on a school trip in Williamsburg, Virginia. We went to Busch Gardens. I mean, it was a very active trip. We went to the Colonial Williamsburg. We had like all these big outings all day long. And I was so embarrassed and so mortified because, you know, of course, in the hotel, the sheets are red. You know, every time you go to the bathroom, you know, whatever, I'm stuffing myself with tissue throughout the whole time. And so me being active as a child, you know, I would get, you know, I actually was scared to go to the OBGYN. So we didn't even go until I was probably in my late teens. And I had very heavy flows. I found myself stuffing myself on that trip. But moving forward, I would have very heavy flows to the point where I would have to wear 2 pads every day. Sometimes I'd have to bring extra pairs of clothes to school. It was just bad. You know, I always felt subconscious about it because I didn't want anybody to try to smell or anything like that. It was just bad. And so sometimes every time I would go to the OB and do my annual, you know, sometimes I would get an abnormal pap smear. And I would have situations where they'd tell me that I have to go get a DNC or I'd have to get additional testing done. But let me tell you guys something. Nobody could give me pretty much a diagnosis of what was wrong with me. The Band-Aid was always birth control. Get on birth control and lose weight. Get on birth control and lose weight. Now, I don't know about you, but I know that I'm thick, but I also know that there are small women who have heavy menstrual cycles as well. I actually met a young lady at an event that we were at last Saturday, and she was built like an Amazon. She was small, very small, but she said we literally had the same story, and that she was wearing sanitary napkins. She would go through sometimes 10 to 20 a day. And that's real, folks. I have had 2 blood transfusions as a result of the amount of blood that I've lost. I've had so many stories. So when I had this sanitary napkin, because let me tell you guys, we were at an amazing conference last month in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was a pre-launch conference for Inspire. It was a free event. Derrick spent our last to make sure that we could get there. And it was so well worth it. So when we get there, I came on. We went to the event. We actually got to Atlanta on Thursday. I was actually spotting on Thursday, and I was cramping on the plane, okay, like normal. So I had to use my traditional unsanitary napkin for that day. But and I was cramping, and I was telling Derrick, I'm like, man, this is crazy. But I didn't care. I was so excited to be in Atlanta. I was just using to deal with it because as women, we suffer in silence. So the next day we go, we heard that the pads were coming in and everybody was all excited. We were happy that we got there early because we were able to get a hold of some of the sanitary napkins. So we were able to get 4 packs. And so I literally rushed back to the hotel room, washed up, and I put on my pad. And let me tell you guys, my bleeding went from having to change the pad every couple hours to literally having to wear 1 pad every day that I was there. I only had to change the pad 1 time, and that was because I was habitually used to changing it. So that first day that I had it, I went to the bathroom habitually, let me go ahead and change it. But I really didn't need to because I was not heavy. Guys, let me also tell you that I started my cycle yesterday. First of all, I was stressed. These past couple months have been very stressful for me. So I was coming on my cycle like every 2 weeks. The conference last month was from the 2nd to the 5th for us. Okay. I was on my cycle probably to like that Thursday, probably to like the 9th or 10th. I am just coming back on my cycle yesterday, which is the 5th of April. That is amazing for me. That is amazing for me. I am so excited. And let me tell you, can I just tell y'all that I'm only spotting? No cramps. I've been waiting for this bad boy for a week or so. I was like, I hope I'm not pregnant. So anyway, guys, this product is phenomenal. I am happy to be a product of the product. I am happy to share this with as many people in the world because I know what it's like. Nobody wants to go to school or go to work and have to keep changing their sanitary napkins all day long or have to worry about whether they got have an accident in their pants or whatever. Nobody wants to have to keep going through that. And so even though my testimony is one of millions, when I tell you that Derrick and I have been vending for these past couple months, it has been 100% close rate. And women will start giving you an usher confession like you can't believe. You're going to hear all types of stories, all types of, just situations and things that they've gone through. Women who have had cancer, women who are all these stages of ovarian cancer and even breast cancer as a result of a bacteria infection that started in the beginning. And so, guys, I'm telling you, this product is going to change the world. And you want to know something else? It's not expensive. This is something that you can make a part of your life and not even feel it. You can't even get a Happy Meal or a real value meal at a McDonald's. This thing costs less than that. And so I'm telling you guys, these products that are these sanitary napkins, it's going to change the game. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we share this with the world. And so, again, for everyone that says I'm inspired, I'm going to inbox you once I get off of here. and I will send you a free sample. If anyone on here is a part of an organization, a church, a sorority, a cancer organization, a wellness group, we are trying to get in front of as many people as we can to share this with people, because lives need to be changed ASAP. Lives need to be changed ASAP. And so we're just excited. We want to make sure that we get this information out. We also will be doing other focus groups here in the DMV, where there was one coming up next Tuesday in the Largo area. If you're interested in coming out and seeing the dive demonstration in person, in the flesh, with our amazing leaders, Mr. Damon Coleman and Mr. Crump, I'm telling you, I don't care if you're not in this business. You're going to get some nuggets that night. You're going to get some perspective on life and business that night. And so, if you're interested in attending, definitely inbox us so we can go ahead and give you that information. You do have to RSVP because there is limited seating. Let me tell you, these guys are traveling all over the place. I know when they were in Chicago, they had over 500 people at this event. All of our events are free. You can bring as many guests as you want, but in some cases, you just need to RSVP to make sure, because sometimes we have so many people coming to these focus groups that we have to relocate. They have to find another location just to accommodate the demand. And that is a good place to be. That is a good place to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I really got. Did I miss anything, babe? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if I mentioned it, but please get back with the person. If you were a representative or bought in by someone else, please make sure that you get back with the person that introduced you or shared this video with you. We do not want to take credit for that, because we know that we've shared this with some of our members, and we wanted to make sure that they got it out to their folks just in case they had some people that were interested in watching this. So, did you have anything else, babe?
All I got to say is the game has officially been changed, and it's 2 words. Be inspired.
That's right. Be inspired. So thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. We actually did go over a little bit more, but if we do another virtual, it'll probably be about half this time, because again, we do respect your time, but we wanted to make sure that you got the information. So have a good night. Be inspired. And we will leave some other contact information as well. Inbox us if you are interested. And if you were not referred by someone else, because we do not want to take credit for that. All right. Be inspired. Have a good evening. Good night.